Thank you so much, Mary, for the beautiful music. And I also appreciate Doug Garrett, who is our sound technician today. My name is Lucille Stoltzfus. I'm a resident here at Garden Spot. And my husband, Andrew, died about 4.5 years ago, so I've been here for a while. I was asked to bring several devotions the fourth Monday of every month, and I'm choosing the theme that Mary just played, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus. The scriptural basis for this song comes from Hebrews 12:2, and I'm quoting it from the King James translation, which says, "Looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." Now, some of the other translations use words like fix your eyes on Jesus, or turn your eyes on Jesus, or keep your eyes on Jesus. And all of those are good words. The author who wrote this wrote it as more than a suggestion. It's rather an act of obedience that we turn our eyes on Jesus. So probably most of us know that course. I would like to say that I did not know it had some verses, and I'd like to read 2 of those verses to you. O soul, are you weary and troubled? No light in the darkness you see? There's light for a look at the Savior, and life more abundant and free. And another verse, his word shall not fail you. He promised, believe him and all will be well. Then go to a world that is dying, his perfect salvation to tell. And the course, as we all know, is turn your eyes on Jesus and look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. I was interested in the history of this song, and it's been written in Old English words, so I spent a little time learning about it. It was written in 1922 by Helen Lemmel, Lemmel. But it was inspired by another missionary lady named Lias Trotter. And I don't think I ever heard of her before, and perhaps you didn't either. But let me tell you a little bit about her. She was a very anointed artist from England, and she was born in 1853 and lived until 1928. She had great potential in art. Her life story and the poem that she wrote about it inspired Helen 100 years later to write this beautiful song, Turn Your Eyes on Jesus. Well, the whole art world was very excited about Lilas Trotter. Many of them were willing to invest heavily in her, and many believed that she would maybe become the greatest painter that England had ever known. But Lilas had a strong calling from God to teach the lost. And so she went out in the streets of London, often early in the morning hours, and found prostitutes there that she would talk to them about God's love. But she also had another calling to reach the lost. And she felt God was calling her to the country of Algeria in North Africa. But she knew that if she followed that calling, she would really give up her wonderful art career. However, Lilas was not distracted. But when she went and tried to find a mission agency that would support her, there really was none. None was interested in that. But Lilas was not going to be distracted from God's call. So amazingly, she went to Africa all by herself. And she spent 40 years in the desert of Africa. And 100 years later, Helen wrote this song, "Turn your eyes on Jesus and look full in his wonderful face." And she wrote it because she had read Lila's story and the poem she had written, and she was inspired by it. Now, like like Helen, I asked myself, how does this story of Lila's affect me? Does it impact me, and then how? And what do you think Lilas would say if we would ask her? How did it impact you? Her talented art never hung in galleries around the world like it was assumed it would. It never graced the walls of wealthy people, but it blessed countless thousands of people that sang it, like you and like me, and the music we just enjoyed a little bit ago. What is the perspective of the prostitutes that heard about God's love from Lilas, or the Africans who are worshiping them in heaven? Was Lila's sacrifice worth it? And I wonder, I ask myself, was it worth it for me? Above all, and what is God's perspective of how she obeyed him? Above all, that's the important question. What is God's perspective? When we turn our eyes on Jesus, it means we choose his choices above our choices, or even our talents and gifts that were so valuable for Lilas that I'm sure I don't have. But I'm wondering, above all things, she firmly decided that she was going to honor him and what he was asking, rather than honor her own gifts or choose to have others to honor him. So what was it worth to her life? And more importantly, I asked myself, what is that worth to my life? Next time I share, I'd like to talk about how are scriptural ways that we can really turn our eyes upon Jesus and look full in his wonderful face.